Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I know what you're thinking. Where have you been? You haven't made a video in so long. I know. But I'm going to start making videos again. Why, you ask? Well, because I have some really cool stuff to talk about statistics and probability. So, what does that mean? Well, that means that we now have the ability, I say ability, we now have the ability to attempt to predict highs and lows based upon how the overnight sets up and how the morning is setting itself up. And what exactly does that mean? Well, today, for instance, as the market started setting up, what we started to look for were a few things. We looked at these ranges, like a 14 to 15-day average for the Asia session and for the London session. And then we noticed that they expanded on their ranges. And then we know what the initial open range for the New York session is, right? And there's a secondary range as well. So we know what all of those ranges look like. Dun, dun, dun. And these two expanded, so we know this one was going to try to expand. But usually when they expand, they try to come back in. So what does that mean? The market was kind of setting up at the open to pop. And you could just kind of look at it and tell, it wanted to pull back, but it couldn't get below any of these areas. It couldn't stay below these areas. So it wanted to squeeze out before it pulled back down. And so how do we know where that's going to go? Well, based upon how that set up and based upon how that set up and how this was setting up, those areas were something like right here, and right here. How do we know that? Because we have probability, right? We have 20 years of history to go look at the setups of all of this to try to predict where this market's going to turn around or where it's going to at least reach to. And so, based upon these setups, we know that usually it's more often than it's not that this will pull back through this. Okay. You usually want it to do it before like 11:30 if possible, but such is life. Sometimes it doesn't do that. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us a couple of things. It tells us statistically and historically, these are kind of the times we want to attempt to put in a high. 9 o'clock to, we'll call it roughly 10, 10:30, something like that, give or take. Typically around the open, right? 9:30 to 10:30. And then also, we will say that it's going to move this far on average, right? 0.4 to 0.5, maybe 0.6 to 0.7. What does that mean? Well, that means from Globex, which is basically where the market opens at 1800, right? We're going to go measure. Oh, man, look at that. Well, so far we've already moved. Let's go. Let's actually replay this so we're not, we'll call it here. And this is stuff we do in the mornings, right? We just try to figure this out. And these are the areas we listed out this morning. And we're looking at this. So far, we're at 1.72. That's a lot, right? So if we're already at 1.72, that tells us we have some potential anomaly areas that we can go look at for the high a day, right? And what are those? Let's go look at that image again. Not that one. This one. So what does that tell us? It tells us, let's see, what did we say? 1.72, right? So where are we now? 1.72 and so 1.72, we're going to look back at this image and we're going to say, okay, the next area for us is going to be somewhere up in here, like closer to 2. And then out here, right, closer to, looks like maybe 2.3 to 2.4. So we're going to call this 1.9 to 2 and 2.3 to 2.4. Right, 1.9 to 2, 2.3 to 2.4. And what I'm saying here is this percentage, right? We're talking about percentage from Globex, percentage move. So just the percentage on this measurement tool right here. Okay. All right. Then we've got this other one way up here, closer to 2.8 to almost 2.9. Now, as the market continues to set itself up, we want to start looking at some other data too, if possible. But for now, we'll just look at this, right? We'll just make it kind of easy. So we'll say that we're going to get the open here. We'll get the open at 9:30. And we have this statistical low down here, but we would like to believe that considering how far up we are, maybe the low's not in, but I mean, it would take a lot to get us down there. Now we do have a gap down here, right? And this statistical low does fit in that gap. So 9:30 is going to be about right here. All right, there's the open. And then we get some tariff news right after this. I'm pretty sure we got some tariff news, right? So now we rejected this high of day. We got to this high of day, we pulled back. All right. And so now we really want to get back below and hold below this range right here. So what are we doing? Let's keep going. And we just can't do it. We cannot do it. Okay. So yeah, what we'll start looking for is where's the high of day? Which one are we going to get to? So we're really respecting this. So we know we're having an issue here. But if we pop up here, we could absolutely have the same thing, have some rejection up in that zone. There we go. All right, now we're setting up a reversal pattern here, which is why if you saw that long from earlier, I just longed on these pullbacks, right? We were staying above this opening area here. So on these pullbacks, you just grab these EMAs and let it ride if you think it's going to go up there, right? We start setting this up. I wanted it to go through this area a bit, but we didn't. We barely couldn't get to it. We started setting up this reversal pattern, and the next candle tells us that's what we want, right? This thing wants to come down. We swept this 5-minute candle. So, and you'll notice when I get out of this replay, we exited up in here. So let's just say you think the market is going to come down to here. How are you going to short that? Well, if we have these statistical areas here, these 3 statistical areas, and we'll have to embellish a little bit just because I don't think we can set actual trades in them. We have to just kind of click buy and sell with the replay here. But let's just go back and we'll say that, we'll say here, we'll get that candle and we'll just have to short that candle, it looks like. So we want to short this area, we want to short this area, and we want to short that area if we think this thing's going to go down. Right, here's our next short. We add here. Now you could try to exit in here because this is definitely an area of support, right? But possibility we get up here. Definitely an anomalous area up here, right? And there's our setup. So if we wanted to add, we could add on this particular candle pattern. We could front run it and just say, let's do it. Or we could wait and get this pattern here to kind of show us, right? So we'll add here. And then where are our targets? Somewhere down in here because we want to sweep these candles here. And our stop's going to be up above here. And if we start blowing back through this, we don't want to hang on to this because we've got other areas up here we could try to target. So we start pulling, we start pulling, we start pulling, which is what we want. We want to see these areas just get plowed through, not plowed through. We want to see them get driven through, right? Finding support here, pushing back up, finding rejection. Like these are the things that we want. So there's your first one. So we'll buy there. We'll keep coming down here. So now we know that there are several patterns here. So we swept this 113, right? We're trying to hold here. So we want another pull down to this 1618. Oh, they're going to try to hold us at the 414 here. Yeah, there we go. And now we're out. And there we go. So there's your trade. Now, I mean, that looks really nice on paper. That's a long hold throughout the day. But this is where understanding where these statistical areas are very, very helpful. So I will put I'll put something in the description where you can reach out. If you're interested in checking this out, let me know and we'll see what we can do. I hope everybody had a good day. Hope everybody nailed it. I know some of these tariff talks have made the market a bit crazy, but I look forward to talking to you. Yeah. And yeah, we're going to start hammering this stuff out now that we've gotten it together. So, all right, we'll talk to you soon.